So if you're a new convert or you're someone who is looking forward to start the lifestyle of, I call it Bible study time, or a time with God, or an intimate time with God, where you are studying his word and you want him to reveal himself more to you, then this video is for you. So now that we are done with the preparation phase, now let's get into the Bible study tips properly. Okay, so at the beginning, in our preparation phase, I said we need a paper Bible, right? And I recommended a study Bible, but I didn't start with a study Bible. I only own a study Bible, I think, since 2019. I think that I own a study Bible and a Bible study commentary. These are two things. I will explain the difference in another video. And these videos are strictly for beginners. So quickly, this is the study Bible I'm using. Study Bibles are always very big and voluminous. You can have the pocket size, but then it will still be big because study Bible has additional materials into it. They have index, they have maps, they have dates, they have definitions, they have a lot of things that you can find inside, like as you can see in this one. So now, how do you study the Bible properly as a beginner? I am going to recommend two ways, and these are the two ways that worked for me, that I didn't feel overwhelmed, right? And these two ways, the first one I would recommend is, and that's what I started with, is to study the Bible based on topics. What do I mean based on topic? Based on those topics that you are really interested in. That topic that you maybe it's something happening in your life, or happening around you, or happening in your society. Just that topic that you really want to know what God is saying about it, not what the pastor is saying. You want to know more. Maybe you can go to church and the pastor says something, or maybe this thing has happened constantly in your life, or in your parents' life, or in your friend's life, and you just want God to teach you more on this topic so that it can apply, you can apply it to your life. Then now it's good to study like Bible like that as a beginner. Why? Because you have a very limited material to work with, and you're going to learn to understand it better. An example is, you can decide to start with the topic of marriage. You can start with a topic like divorce. You can start with fornication. You can start with peace. You can start with love. You can start with humility. You can start with patience. For example, if you're someone who is not patient in life, and you always get into hasty decisions, and you end up breaking your leg, or you end up not having the result you wanted, you might want to learn what God is saying about patience, why it's important as a child of God to have patience. Now that's how you will start studying the Bible. You want to go into your Bible and look for those verses that are talking about patience. Now if you have a study Bible like I recommended, so if you look at the back of my Bible right here, it has a lot of words, and it goes in alphabetical order. So if you want to look for something like divorce, for example, let's go to divorce. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you're thinking of getting a divorce, and you're not really sure what the Bible is saying, what God is saying about divorce. You just want God to reveal that to you. If you have a study Bible, it will be easy for you. So if you come at the back of the Bible, you will see a divorce, and it's going to give you so many instances of the Bible where divorce was mentioned. Now, as a beginner, what you want to do, this is easy because for example, here it says Deuteronomy 22 verse 19. You see it's very short here, so you can read that. And then it says Deuteronomy 24 verse 1. It says Jeremiah 3 verse 8. It says Malachi. It gives you Matthew, 3 different verses from Matthew, and just few verses. And then when you talk of divorced, means somebody that has already divorced, it talks about Matthew 5:32. So you can study the Bible like this. You see that if you pick a topic, you will read like 4 or 5 different verses from different portions of the Bible, or from different books of the Bible, that are saying the same thing about divorce. This is going to give you a better understanding of divorce. So that's why a study Bible is important. But if you do not have a study Bible, of course the internet is there, technology is advanced. You can take this topic, you now go on the internet and you Google search Bible verses on divorce, or Bible verses on a divorced person, whatever, or Bible verses on patience. And now when you have these Bible verses, again, because you're a beginner, it's good to always work with few Bible verses. Don't take too much so you don't get overwhelmed again and get confused. So you can say you pick 2 verses. Now remember, at the beginning we talk about Bible translation, so make sure that you compare these 3 verses, or this, and then compare it with 2 English translation. You can say, okay, let me compare it with the English Standard Translation, or let me compare it with the CSB, or let me compare it with the Amplified, just to make sure that the context, you're trying to grab the context of it. You will see where we are heading with this. Okay, the second way you can study the Bible as a beginner to make it easy for you and not overwhelming is that you can study the Bible based on Bible stories or based on Bible personalities. For example, if I have heard the pastor, or my mom or somebody talking about the story of Joseph, and I really want to have an in-depth about Joseph, maybe there is something about Joseph's character, maybe there's something about that story that I feel like I really need to get a grasp on it so it can apply onto my life, then you can now go to your Bible and study based on the story of Joseph. But again, as a beginner, make sure you take just few verses at a time. So if you have 1 hour, don't say you want to read 3 chapters about the story of Joseph, for example. No, take a chapter or take half of that chapter, read it, write down what you have been able to understand from that passage, and then the next day you will continue, and the next day you will continue until you're done with that story. So the key thing here is to walk at your pace. Don't take too much Bible verses, or don't take too much topics to deal with in one sitting. Deal with one topic. When you're done, when you've understand it very well, you move over to the next topic. Because the mistake that most beginners do is that when they pick the Bible, they want to study the Bible from the first verse of Genesis to the last verse of Revelation. Like this, you're going to get discouraged very fast, you're going to get weak, you're going to get lost at a certain point, and you might want to give up on your Bible study journey. Once you're done deciding how you want to study the Bible, either through topics or through personality or Bible stories, we'll move on to the next step, which is very, very important as well, and I call that step the interpretation / the application phase. Yeah, I'm going to be sharing your method, my method with me, that has worked for me for years, and I call this the WW method.